So now what we want to do is experiment with the different types of geometries from the standard toolbar over here. So what we can do is we can right click on this button over here, and this will allow us to input multiple points. Each command needs to be ended with an enter. You can also select and delete if you want. Another option for us is to draw some polylines, so I can go ahead and just do it like this. Yeah. If I select on the geometry and if I have this gumball icon on, you can see that the gumball appears, and this allows us to move the object in the 3 different axes, rotate them, rotate the object on the 3 different axes. I can also, if it's a planar curve, I can also extrude. So you can see here, if I change to shaded, you can see that we have a poly surface. Control Z will undo, and I can also scale in the certain directions over here. By clicking on a line, you can see that these points appear, and these points allow us to control the curve by moving it right or left. In Rhino, everything is controlled on a basic level by points. This is different when you compare it to different modeling softwares. So I can go ahead and delete that and explore other line options. We can also draw a curved line. So this will allow us to draw perfectly curved lines through control points. By clicking enter, you commit those changes, and you can manipulate those changes through these points. As mentioned earlier, everything in Rhino is done through mathematical calculations, so we end up with a perfectly curved single geometry rather than segmented polyline, as we see with other software such as SketchUp. These lines can be moved in any directions as well, like this, if you need. We can also draw circles, ellipses, arcs, rectangles in different ways, different polygons, and these are some of the options for us to manipulate line geometry. So for surfaces, Rhino surfaces are made up of 4 edges. So by clicking on the surface over here, I can draw a surface using these 4 edges. We see these 2 lines over here, and these simply represent the local coordinates. I cannot edit them or select them if I want. If I click on the surface and I type in pon, which means points on, I can see that now I have the control points of the surface and I can move them as I wish. Because these are local coordinates, you can see how the surface is being manipulated. So in this line we can see that this is the midpoint, in this line we can see that this is the midpoint, and these 2 connected. So we can clearly see that this middle point is the middle point. I also have the option to rebuild surfaces. So if I click on the surface and type in rebuild, I can increase the number of control points if I need. So U and V represent the local coordinates of a surface. So at the moment we have it set, at the moment we have 2, because we have 2 control points on each edge, but we can set this up to how many we want. I'll just simply increase this to 4 on each side. Click OK. Now you can see each edge, we have 4 control points. And with these control points, I can control the surface. As you can see here, this is an edge controlled by these points. And because a surface in Rhino is controlled using these edges, I can manipulate the surface edge over here, move them down, and then I have a seamless curved surface. You can select multiple points in Rhino by holding down Shift and clicking and moving them however you want. You can also do things like this. click enter to finish, and then if I want to get rid of the points, I simply just click escape or POF, which means points off. I can also extrude surfaces, and one way to do this is to type in extrude, and you can see extrude surface over here, and this will allow me to extrude the surface in the X or Y direction. In the positive Z or negative Z direction. As you can see here now, we have a single surface over here and a poly surface once we click here. The way to know it's a poly surface if it's more than one surface connected to each other. You can also see on the top here that Rhino tells us it's a poly surface. When we click on the bottom one, you can see that Rhino is telling us it's one single surface. To create a volume, I can simply click on the surfaces, click on the poly surface and type in cap. Oops, sorry, this doesn't work. This only works for planar ends, which this is not planar because we have two curves. So another option for us is to click on this, type in copy. It's asking us for a point to copy from, so I can select this edge, move it up over here and click enter. And now you can see we have a volume that's completely enclosed. I can turn this all into one single poly surface by selecting them and typing in join. So now we can see we have one single poly surface. You can experiment with these different surfaces. We can create cylinders. We can create we can sweep certain polylines. So if I have two, let's say this is a path over here, I can link these two together into one by going over here and clicking on this button, loft, and this will loft between these two, as you can see here. And because we have these lines in the middle, we know that this is one single surface and it has multiple control points on the side. So if we turn them on, we can move these different points in different directions. This is very useful if you want to create an organic canopy or roof as well. Alright, these are the basic geometry commands that I want to show you for now. The next stage will include modeling a small project for us to kind of get our heads around.